Good morning, you beautiful people of the Shield Wall Nation. Here once again is your daily report. Now, before I even get into that report, you know what to do. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you have not subscribed yet, and hit that bell notification too because it lets you know when I put up new content. So, let's get into this. Now, let's talk about these COVID cases since we have quite a little bit of an increase. It says global cases of 18,486,183, global deaths of 698,395, global recoveries of 11,710,710. U.S. cases of 4,863,077, U.S. deaths of 158,975, and U.S. recoveries of 2,448,305. Let's talk about a little bit about the benefits. It says the extra $600 in benefits have expired a few weeks ago. During the extended discussion on this next stimulus package, about 30 million will not be receiving the extra stimulus for at least several weeks, possibly longer. Now, I'm heard that some people are staying on unemployment because of this extra money and they're not looking for jobs, nor are they returning to their jobs because, well, who wouldn't want to? I mean, you get unemployment and an additional $600 a week. If I had the opportunity, I would go on unemployment too. I mean, why am I working my job, risking my health, and getting far less than somebody that was flipping burgers decided to go on unemployment because of either the business shutting down or cutting back employees, or they felt scared so they had to quit, and then they get unemployment plus an additional $600 a week. That's a fantastic deal. Now, I mentioned on another video that a group was being created to do this certain thing I'm going to be talking about. It says the Boston Globe reported that on 12 June, a bipartisan group of former government officials, former military members, and academics held an online gathering known as the Transition Integrity Project to a war game possible outcomes of the 2020 elections. They said, all of our scenarios ended in both street-level violence and political impasse, reported Rosa Brooks, a former Defense Department official and Georgetown law professor. The group concluded that the 2020 election will result in political violence. So these war games, they use the military training and planning in order to come up with different scenarios to a very complex situation. Even though they did not define the prediction, and they also had the inability to identify any scenario that ended in a peaceful transition. So if they haven't found any peaceful transition, it doesn't quite bode well for the November election. So that's not good. So we've already realized that the fact that it is going to be a violent outcome. If Trump wins, all the socialists and fascists and communists will probably burn, loot, and probably kill people. Because right now you already see it happening in minor little clusters. For something this big to happen to Trump win again, it will happen on a very large scale. Predictions, right? If Trump doesn't win, it might see the opposite. Who knows? Because we haven't seen the conservative side get upset and start burning anything. So we don't know what they're going to do. Are they going to protest? Are they going to riot? Are they just going to be like, you win, congratulations? As long as there wasn't a socialist that won, good. Even though Biden is basically a puppet getting into office. So, who knows? Who knows how things will play out, because as we see from their study, it's not going to play out very well regardless. Let's see. The Andrew Stein, former Democratic president of the New York City Council and founder of the Democrats for Trump, warned that Democrats' silence on anti-American violence and political activism in Portland and Seattle, among other places, is a huge tactical mistake. Stein went on to accuse Democrats of siding with radicals who are fomenting violence and who are unlikely to support Democratic presidential candidates Joe Biden. So we see Democrats, even Democrats, supporting Trump, a Republican, because the Democratic Party isn't what it used to be. They don't believe that the Democrats should side with these socialist, fascist, Marxist, communist, whatever you want to call them, side of the Democrat, as we call the far left. And a lot of people always say far right, far left. They never look at the middle and slightly skew to the left, slightly off to the right, right? It's usually far left, far right. And there's a difference. There's a difference between far left. There's a difference between far right compared to their right and left equals. So yes, there are far, far lefts. And the Democrats don't support that. Well, they shouldn't. Some of the Democrats, in fact, do. And that's why this Andrew Stein says we shouldn't. The Democrats shouldn't do that. That's why they're supporting Trump, because they don't like what the Democrats represent nowadays. So, there's that. Let's see. There's something else going on again, once in Stone Mountain. It says the frontline organizations working to end racism, also the acronym FLOWER. So I'll say that again, FLOWER. Frontline organizations working to end racism is an organization is organizing a counter demonstration against far right organizations rallying at Stone Mountain in Georgia on 5th August. FLOWER mobilized opposition to a similar rally in Stone Mountain in early 2019 and have called to for a renewed large-scale presence in August. Nearly 20 organizations, including Atlanta Antifa, the Coalition of Armed Labor, Atlanta Democratic Socialists of America, anti-police groups, and revolutionary communist groups have endorsed FLOWER's call to action. So once again, you see far left groups, like I said, the Socialist Party, coming together to silence America, really. Because who knows? They say it's far right, but what is to them far right? Is that anyone? Because it seems like anyone that is, they consider fascist, Nazis, whatever it may be, they silence them through violence. But it's people carrying American flags. So what is to the far left considered far right? Is anyone to them to the right considered far right? Because anyone that disagrees with what they do is considered far right. I don't know. I don't trust any garbage that they spew. Because they say that me holding an American flag, I'm a fascist, I'm a Nazi. So therefore, I deserve to get punched in the face, right? That's not right. They don't understand the definition of what has perpetuated the word of fascism. And they don't understand the fact that they are the exact thing they're fighting against. It's almost like me saying murder's okay, or murder's bad, but I'm murdering people. It's oxymoronic, right? Just to clarify for people that have two brain cells that they can barely rub together, I do not think murder's okay. So I don't trust anything that the far left spews out. I don't even really trust much of anything that the left spews out, let alone even right spews out. But if I have to put my life on one side or the other, and I cannot choose to be right 100%, because you see the violence that's happened on the left and the okayness of this violence, right? But then again, I'm always usually in middle, leaning. Used to lean either way. Now I'm kind of leaning right, just because of the stupidity that the left spews out and allows to be spewed out. Anyways, I digress. Let's talk about the St. Louis, Kentucky-based restaurateur Fernando Martinez accused Black Lives Matter activists of threatening him with mafia tactics over their political demands. Martinez claimed that BLM members issued a list of demands to him and other businesses downtown that include having 23% race quota for black employees, biannual mandatory diversity training, and a minimum of 23% inventory purchases from black-owned realtors. Martinez said demonstrators at the recent protests warned him to put the list of demands on the doors so your business is not effed with. Over 100 members of the local Cuban community rallied to support of Martinez, who claimed they're under attack because of the diffusion and expansion of Marxist ideas. So yeah, I actually read that, the list, and if they're not wanting to work, how can we hire people, right? They also had to let go of their employees because of COVID. So when COVID starts disappearing after November, they're gonna have to hire their own employees back. And also, it's mandatory that racial diversity training is mandatory to have biannually, they said, so twice a year, and it's by BLM members. So they are forced to pay BLM members to train them on diversity. Imagine that, right? It's ridiculous. You can't. It is mafia tactics. If you don't, follow our demands, we will destroy your business. That's a terroristic act right there. So why isn't anyone doing anything about? Why is it being supported? I'm glad that this community finally stood up and said enough is enough. So, anyways, I hope people have learned something from this, seen something, maybe woke up about something, decide to lean left more, decide to lean right more, whatever. I hope you are educated on this with news around the country. So, please, Shield Wall Nation, stay strong, stay resilient. Shield Wall up.